With its seemingly long list of benefits, which includes boosting mood, alleviating pain, promoting healthy sleep and healthy digestion, improving skin conditions, and so many more, it's no wonder people are turning to essential oils to support their health and well-being. The popularity of these wonder-working oils is stirring interest in learning how to extract them for personal use or for business. Welcome to Extraction Essentials, where you'll learn and discover how to create a formula using quality engineered products. Hosted by Tony Frischknecht, this podcast is all about the process of extraction tools and the equipment that surrounds the extraction lab or facility. Create an income while enjoying the many benefits and uses of essential oils by tuning in to Extraction Essentials.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Extraction Essentials. I'm your host, Tony Frischknecht, and I am bringing you another great episode of formulations. This is fun stuff. So, guys, I want to thank you guys for listening to the show, whether you're exercising, you're walking, you're working, whatever you're doing. Thanks so much for taking a few minutes out of your day and spending it with us. So we appreciate that. Today I have Nick Gay, Head of Product Management. He is on the show with me because we're going to talk about salves. What's a salve? What do they do? Why do people use them? They're kind of popular. Well, I would say they're very popular in the wellness world. We hear about a lot about that. So, Nick, thanks so much for being on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Tony.
Awesome. Well, can you explain to the folks out there what a salve is?
Yeah. So what it is it's a mixture of different waxes and creams and oils and things like that, as well as different botanicals to help with different ailments. So, for example, this specific salve I made today is to target pain topically, whereas there's other that are for cuts, scrapes, burns, hives, eczema, anything like that. So, but like Tony said, it's very well known and used very often in the homeopathic and wellness industries.
Okay, so there's a lot of people that have purchased CBD products out there, use them, and they say, well, it's not working for me. I know Amazon sells a bunch. We're actually starting to see them pop up in the different natural grocer stores and the wellness centers and stuff. Do you know why that happens a lot, or what are some of the reasons why people don't feel anything, or they say they don't work?
Yeah, I mean, so it's as with everything in life, there's different qualities of things, and then also there's there's kind of a gap in knowledge and understanding as well. For example, a lot of product suppliers will say, hey, we have 100 milligrams of CBD oil in our product. So what that means is that there is 1 gram of CBD oil in their product, but how strong is that? What is the CBD percentage on that? It could be 20% or it could be 100. So that's a big difference. And then also, there's the difference between using CBD isolate, which is just pure the CBD compound itself, and that's it. And then there's full spectrum CBD, which has many different cannabinoids, including just a small amount of THCV and certain things like that. So I think that's why a lot of products don't work for certain people. And then also it's about all the different things that you add in there. It's not just the CBD that's helping you out. It's different herbs and essential oils and stuff like that really does.
So is the CBD more the active ingredient of the entire recipe?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So everything else around it, we see it a lot, but everything else that's added to the solution itself is to help with that, with those pain, with those pain areas like knees, backs, neck, stuff like that. And so what you're telling me is that those guys out there selling a lot of this product, the percentages are just so low that they can say that there's CBD in there. Are there a lot of salves out there that claim to be CBD that have no CBD in them?
There's probably some, but I would say more than often, it's just misleading, like what I just said, like saying they have 100 milligrams of CBD oil.
So it's misleading is what you're saying.
Yeah. So like, for example, if you have 1 gram of butter, that doesn't tell you how much fat is in there.
Yeah.
So it's just misleading. That's what it is. And it's kind of taking advantage of people's lack of knowledge about this new product, which is kind of a bummer, honestly.
Absolutely. And I think it probably happens in all new markets when products come out, right? People are looking to save a few bucks by only doing the bare minimum. They know it's hot, so people are going to buy it if it says, oh, well, it says echinacea. There was a time when echinacea was all the rave, and everybody, my parents were, well, we got to take echinacea every day because, and people would just buy up a bottle because it said echinacea on it.
Totally.
So, okay, cool. So a little bit about the salve, guys. There's so much more we can talk about, but I want to get to this video that Nick's got, that where he's creating this product for us. And just so you know, we will have this listed on our website, so you guys can go there and grab it. And again, this product and these extracted oils that he's taking, of course, are from our little buddy CO2 extraction machine. But if you are extracting, I'm sure you can take and tweak the recipe, but we just want to show you what we're able to do here and what we can control. So, okay, Nick, let's go ahead and start the video.
Yeah, sounds great. Yeah, so I picked a recipe that all the things are really easy to get. You can either get them from just a Whole Foods or anything like that. But like Tony said, you can add, the moon's the limit. So you can add whatever else. So yeah, here we are starting the video. All right, so here we are. And so we're going to start the video here. I picked very, very easy things to get and a pretty minimal recipe. So it's really easy to get all these things and do this yourself at home.
Okay.
So off screen here, I have a little heating device where I'm putting these jars of waxes and things like that over there. So you're going to see me taking these jars off screen a little bit. And so that's just what I'm doing there. So pictured here is the melted beeswax. And then right over here, this jar that I'm grabbing here is the coconut oil, shea butter, olive oil, and cocoa butter. And so I'm just combining these two here, and then I'm going to be mixing it together, and then I'm going to be putting it back onto the heat plate so that wax stays warm.
Okay, got it. So you're keeping everything at a constant temperature right now.
Exactly, yeah. So you can see I'm stirring it all together, making sure everything's nice and blended, and then I'm going to put that back over on the heater there, and then move to some of the other additives. So what I've got sitting there is, that is the CBD oil, which I have diluted down in MCT oil. And the reason I did that is just because it's a pretty sticky product. It's pretty hard to get out of small jars or any jar, to be honest. So I put a little bit of MCT oil in there, heated it up a little bit, shook it up, and that way it's all in solution and super easy to just pour it out of that vial.
And you already have that pre-measured, is that correct?
Correct. Yeah. So it's 0.3 grams that we ran some hemp previously through the Little Buddy system. And so I just used 0.3 grams of that for this specific recipe so that I could come up with what I came up with is that it's going to be roughly about 133 milligrams of CBD in this product here.
Okay. And those milligrams too, what kind of percentage of CBD is in that oil?
So the CBD oil is of course I didn't get it lab tested or anything, but the typical range on the low end would be more like 40 and on the high end would be like 65.
Okay.
So I did my calculation kind of as the median of those two.
So yeah, we haven't had it tested by a third party. However, if you were to go get exact, those are the ranges you think it would fall into. Is that right?
Yeah, for CO2 extracted.
Okay. Yeah. And we know, I mean, you pulled the CBD from the hemp itself, so you know exactly where that came from, right?
Yeah, totally. And I even know the grower of the hemp as well. So.
Oh wow. Okay, so you know it all the way down the line. Yeah. Okay, very cool. Okay, very cool. Okay, let's go to the next part here in the video.
Awesome. Yeah, and so this little vial here, that is some peppermint essential oil that I extracted in the little buddy that we're going to be using in this mixture as well. And then in this little pipette back here is the CO2 extracted lavender that we're going to be using, that we once again extracted in the little buddy machine. And so now I'm going to be grabbing the oil that was heating this whole time I've been talking, and we're going to add the CBD oil. And so you'll notice that most of it comes out when and also the other thing is you want to make sure that you're stirring as you're pouring each of these ingredients in. And that way it's getting homogenized in there really well. And so you'll see that there's still some remnants left in that vial. So what I'm going to do is actually take some of the wax mixture and squirt that back into the vial, shake it up, and that way I'm getting everything out of there, because the CBD oil, I mean, it's pretty expensive stuff.
It's kind of like taking your pasta sauce and putting a little water in it and shaking up your bottle to dump it back in your stove, your pot, right?
Exactly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, you can see there, I'm just adding that little bit of wax into the vial, and I'm going to be shaking it up like that, and then we're going to be pouring that back in there. And so you want to make sure that your the reason I'm adding these things in this order is you want to make sure that your essential oils go in last, because they kind of get damaged by heat. So you can see
what kind of damage is caused by that, by the heat?
Yeah, so basically it just loses a lot of its smell, because there's a lot of volatile compounds and terpenes and things like that boil at a much lower temperature than like a lot of them. Some of them boil at room temperature even. So but the process that we do with the little buddy, we use little to no heat in the entire process, which is very different than steam distilled essential oil, which is, the steam is passing through the botanicals and destroying some of those volatiles. And we're going to be jumping into a kind of a deep dive on comparing CO2 and steam distilled essential oils at a future podcast. So
okay, great.
For that.
Great. Okay, so what do we got next?
Yeah, so I just off screen, I have this little blunt tip syringe. I'm squirting that peppermint essential oil in there. I had already put the lavender essential oil in there. So now I'm going to be stirring it up, making sure it's all mixed together really well, and then put it back on the heat. And so you'll notice in just a minute here, I'm going to pull out the jar, and you'll see that there's some beeswax that's hardened around on the outside, on the inside of the jar.
Okay.
And so what I'm going to be doing is scraping that off, and then mixing it back in and heating it. And the reason I'm just going to be doing that is because the function of the beeswax is to harden the mixture. So that's so that it can stay stable and not melt in your purse, or pocket, or whatever it calls.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah.
Because if it was just like, I don't know if you've ever, had coconut oil melt out from something, or, it's just a mess. So yeah, you want to make sure that's all mixed in there really well.
Okay. So you ended up just reheating it to help mix it back up. So I scraped it off the sides. Okay.
Reheated it a little bit, and then the more you stir, the faster it melts back in. So you could see just a minute ago there was like a little clump of some beeswax still in the mixture, but through stirring it, and since the wax is still hot, it gets mixed back in there.
Okay, great.
So you can see it's a much more cohesive mixture right now. It's very clear. You could see there was just that one little piece of beeswax left. And so now it looks like it almost melted. And there it is. Perfect.
Awesome. So right here at this point, you have everything in the mixture at this point, right? So all your ingredients are in the salve.
Yeah. So it's all done, ready to be poured in your final jar. So that's what I'm doing here. And some of you viewers out there may look at that and be like, "Oh, that looks really dark." And
it does look very dark. It looks like a really like dark honey almost.
Yeah, and so as the wax cools down, it actually lightens up quite a bit. So here it is right here. So you can see how much lighter that got over time, and that little crater you see in there.
It's like a pit in the center there of the solution.
So if you were to use a glass jar, the reason that happened is because it didn't cool at the same rate. So if
Okay.
you were to use a glass jar and heat the glass jar to, about 120 degrees, then everything's cooling together. So, this isn't going to affect your product. It's more of an aesthetic thing. So, if you're really nitpicky, then that's what you can do there.
So I guess it depends on how you're using this. If you're using it to give it away or you're selling it, right?
Yeah, exactly. So if you're, if like this is just for me and friends and whatnot, so, it's no big deal for me, but that's just, like with everything, you want to make sure you got your bases covered.
Well, it seems pretty simple. What do you think the hardest part of the process was creating the salve?
Cleaning.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it's cleaning the beeswax. The other thing is whatever you melt the beeswax in is always going to have beeswax in it. Always. So make sure you use like a mason jar or something that you're not attached to or anything like that. So I actually still have the beeswax mason jar that I have to do.
Okay, great.
And then also, I guess for you viewers out there, I could kind of show you the consistency of this.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
So, it's pretty soft, but not super soft. And then it rubs in pretty well. It's not super greasy or anything like that. And like Tony said before, I mean, you can change this recipe quite a bit. The reason I picked this recipe is because all these things are fairly easy to get at any of your grocery stores or anything like that. But you can use different waxes and different botanicals such as arnica or other herbs and stuff, or other essential oils as well, just to make new different products.
So Nick, what was the most expensive product that you used for your ingredients in this whole process?
Yeah, so the most expensive part is definitely the CBD oil. But with that said, because we have the Little Buddy extractor, we were able to make it a little bit cheaper. So typically if you were to buy CBD oil, it'd probably be about $20-$30 a gram even. But since we actually purchased hemp in bulk, and so it ended up costing us something like $10 or something.
Oh wow, so it was very cheap.
Yeah, so I mean, it was probably even less than that. I just did it in my head real quick. So, but other than that, I mean, that's definitely the most expensive piece, and which is why so many of these CBD products are so expensive as well. Like this product right here would probably retail at a store for $20-$25.
Okay. So for those people out there that are looking to create something like this, what would be the number one thing you would tell them as they want to make this, or as they want to create something, a formulation like this?
Yeah. So I mean, the first thing always is, why are you making it? So for me, I skateboard a lot, which means I fall, which means I need this stuff, but let's say you have eczema or dry skin or something like that. There's different things that you can use based on what you need to get done. So.
Yeah. And I'm glad you brought that up, because, that eczema and psoriasis, those medications that people have to spend money on are extremely expensive, crazy expensive.
Often don't help as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So, well, great. Well, Nick, thank you so much. This was awesome. Making salve. It's hard to say, guys. I go back and forth. So if you guys hear me saying that, my apologies. I try to get that L in there. It's hard sometimes. So, well, so if you guys are interested in this formulation, or you're interested in exploring what else the Little Buddy can do, of course, you guys came to the right place. Extraction Essentials. This is what we talk about. This is what we do. I want to encourage anyone out there right now that is saying, I want to create a salve. I would like to talk to somebody about this. If you specifically have an instance where it's like, okay, I need to reach out, please go to our website at extractionessentials.com. It's very easy. You can call us there. You can email us there. You can text us there. But let me connect you with Nick. Nick is more than happy to talk to you about some of these processes. And if you're just exploring the idea, if you're exploring, you know what, I'd like to extract my own stuff, but what is it that I really need to do? That's why we're here, guys. We are here to help you with that info. So please reach out to us. We make it as simple as possible. Go to the website, extractionessentials.com, and find, you're able to click send an email again. You can call us. I think we actually have created a little texting spot too, so you can even text us. That will go to our customer service. We'll be able to connect you with Nick right away. So spend a couple seconds and do it. I know you guys are probably in motion right now, the ones that are listening to the podcast, but you guys that are watching on YouTube as well, very simple. So thank you so much for joining us today, Nick. It was awesome. I love learning about Salve, and I can't wait to see the next ones that we got coming up with you. So looking forward to it. Guys, have a wonderful day, and we'll see you guys next time.
You have just listened to another informative episode of Extraction Essentials with Tony Frischknecht. We invite you to come back next time as we strive to provide useful knowledge and tools every week to help you on your extraction business. You can also visit extractionessentials.com for additional resources and to know more about working with Tony. See you again next time.